Gundam franchise, the Gundam overall franchise in Japan is something approximating like the size of Star Trek and Star Wars combined in North America. It is at like the 900-pound gorilla in the center of the anime universe. There's been dozens of television series, original video animations, films, whatever. But one of the things that people not familiar with it may not realize is that Gundam is essentially divided into two completely different halves. There's the alternative universes, which encompass a lot of those shows that have gotten much more exposure over here, like Gundam Wing, which is
Gundam Seed got a bunch of exposure,
etc., etc.,
which wasn't as garbage, unless you count the second season.
Right,
Gundam Wing is bad.
Right, but these are all alternative universes, and generally with their alternative universes, they've tried to cater to like a younger demographic. And they've gone more in a kind of super robot direction with the series that really get away from what the Universal Century is like. Their main storyline in Gundam is the Universal Century, and it's much more of a gritty, dramatic, grown-up set of series about essentially that war is hell, and that in prolonged war, there end up not being any good guys, and it really does a lot to show the psychological toll that prolonged warfare can take on people that are fighting it. Basically, Universal Century Gundam is the most depressing fictional setting I've ever heard of until they reimagined Battlestar Galactica. Like the first series, before the first series starts, like 7 billion people are killed in the first week of a war between a set of colonies that has declared independence and the Earth Federation. Where they're lobbing nuclear and chemical weapons at each other indiscriminately till after a week they realize if they keep this up they're not going to be fighting over anybody because everyone's going to be dead. So they agree to stop using these things, but they've already killed like 95% of the human race in a week. That's the background to the original series. And like main characters die constantly.
So it's like Power Rangers in Japan.
Well, yeah, okay, but
dropping like flies.
No, but
it's all about Power Rangers in Japan.
I like that though. I like when shit hits the fan and it keeps hitting the fan.
Yeah, and it's much more because given Japan's experience with World War II, there's a very big thing in their fictional series, be it regular film or anime, on war as hell as a genre, on series that show kind of like the brutal cost that war take on all sides. You know that ultimately you don't get to be. There is no, ultimately the Gundam franchise, the Universal Century series, is really about the question of whether an unjust peace is preferable to a just war, given the consequences that come along with wars, even if they're supposedly just on the ethical principles. But anyway, I'm bringing this up because I recently did a review for the site on the latest addition to the Universal Century storyline called Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn, which, as I mentioned in my review, I didn't really want to watch it when I first heard about it because the name was so ridiculous that I thought that this had to be terrible. But actually, as it turns out, it's probably one of the absolute best things in the entire Universal Century storyline. The storytelling is really good, really gritty and grown-up approach to dealing with the kind of these questions that I was talking about. But the other thing that's really great about it is when the modern animation has brought it to a level of visual amazingness that you never got before. Because the original series, Mobile Suit Gundam, was released in 1979-1980, and so going along with the 80s theme, if you go back and watch the original Mobile Suit Gundam, or the most famous of its like sequels being Zeta Gundam, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, while the storylines have a lot of good stuff in them, they're so dated by being made in the 80s, both visually and in a lot of the storytelling devices and musically, that it makes them really hard to watch today. Like, I just started rewatching Zeta Gundam recently, in the last couple of weeks, and the first couple of episodes, it was just like, oh my god, why? The 80s-ness of it was just beating me over the head.
I love the 80s. Cocaine? Come on, guys.
It's not a good enough reason, man. But, when you start getting a little more into Zeta Gundam, the storyline starts to redeem a lot of the negative qualities about it, but still, man,
which
the
is
80s of
basically
it,
the 80s?
No, yeah.
Oh, God, the 80s.
I remember when you were like, we're going to watch Universal Century Gundam, and I'm like, this fucking reminds me of shit that I watched when I was like 5 years old.
Okay, I have a question for you, because you know this Gundam universe well.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm interested. So, let's say I just want to watch this Universal Century, is that what it's called? Can I just get into that without having to watch the whole fucking library of Gundam shit?
Yeah. Okay, in order to watch, if the minimum you have to watch, if you want to really understand what the hell's going on in the main storyline, which covers like essentially the period from the 1 year war up until Unicorn Gundam is set like 25 years later. Essentially, where all the main characters apply. So there's Amuro Ray, there's Char Aznable, there's all the like main characters and the kind of coherent storyline. You really only have to watch the original series, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, Char's Counterattack, which is a film, and Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn.
Okay.
Those are enough to give you the main things. There's a lot more side stories and stuff that adds on to that, a lot of which is really good. A lot of the best stuff in the Universal Century Gundam universe are side stories. Yeah. But those are the 4 that you would have to watch to get the main body of the storyline.
Okay. But
he does not have
why red Gundams are better than regular Gundams.
Oh yeah, well that's a lot of people don't realize that in Japan, because of the Gundam franchise, the character Char Aznable, who always wears a red piloting suit, he has a mask, and he pilots a red mobile suit that's always like 3 times faster than any comparable mobile suit. All of these became cultural tropes that get copied a lot in other animes because of the original one of Char Aznable from Mobile Suit Gundam. This is a cultural trope in Japan that's probably as well known as Darth Vader in North America. Mm-hmm. It's like really, really kind of well known and gets copied or referenced a lot in other
I thought
series.
we agreed that we were never going to talk about Star Wars on this podcast.
Doesn't Akira wear red?
That's
fuck Star Wars.
Well, yeah, but that's not a reference to that. That's
fuck you
a lot of,
and fuck
a lot of
Star
sci-fi
Wars.
space type series. Like there's a character that's
Stick
a
it in
copy
your
of Char
ass,
Aznable in almost every Gundam series, be it Gundam Wing, Gundam Seed, all kinds.
And there was a guy named Zex in Gundam Wing, right?
Right, and that's a bad Char knockoff. And there's one.
I actually did like that character to a certain extent because he was kicking all of the main characters' asses with the shitty.
Right, but Char's
shitty thing.
So much better.
I can honestly imagine it's probably a lot better, but like you're right. Everyone has their own fucking copies. Like even Seed had a copy, which were these 2 other guys who were clones. I don't even know. I'm technically ruining a plot point there.
Raul Cruz. Although Raul Cruz, I've watched Gundam Seed, I consider it kind of a guilty pleasure because I know it's not good, but it is entertaining. Raul Cruz is actually an awesome character. He's really funny because I like him because of how much of an absolute nihilist he is. I find that amusing.
I love nihilists. I do really.
But yeah, if you're gonna watch Gundam Seed, watch Gundam Seed. Do not watch Gundam Seed Destiny
because
you will wish you killed yourself.
Gundam Seed Destiny is one of the single worst anime I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of anime.